Hey, it's Shirley B, and I believe we all have the power to change our lives for the better. And my goal is to help you believe and know that your mindset is your power, and change can sometimes feel overwhelming. So instead of focusing on all the huge things that you may feel you need to do in life, let's instead focus on small mindset shifts, small actions that anyone can take, so that little by little and piece by piece, you will change your life. So, welcome to the first of what I hope to be many podcasts that I hope will help you change your life for the better. My goal with this podcast is to help you and everyone realize that we can all choose to change our lives, that you have the power to do so, and that it's fully within your control, regardless of where you are in life, who is in your life, what you do for a living, or any other external factors. Because the truth is, all this change that you feel you need to do, that you know you need, it's all internal to you. It has nothing to do with those outside factors. Yes, there are things, people, jobs, things coming your way that will directly impact you, and maybe not in such a great way. But I truly believe that your mindset and the power within you can offset that impact of anything that comes your way. And the other point of this podcast is to show that you don't have to make monumental changes to get you there. It's really the small changes that you can make every day, every week, the small shifts, the little side steps that really make up these big changes. That by changing and shifting your perspective, your knowledge, and just growing more, and most importantly, creating that solid mindset that doesn't shake no matter what comes your way. Now, is some stuff in life going to be harder than others? Of course. And it's going to be extremely difficult to keep that mindset. I will not kid you. But the more you change internally, the less those external factors affect you, or at least you can recover quicker with less damage. You've already taken the first step in searching for and finding this podcast. So hopefully something I say will take hold and you will take additional steps, because that's really what it's all about, is just those little steps. So who am I, and what makes me so special to think that I can help you? Well, first of all, I am by no means special. I'm just like you, many of you, if not all of you out there, that I just want more peace in my life. I want to stop thinking that life just happens to me and that I have no say in the direction that my life goes. I am a certified life coach and a certified mindset coach, but honestly, those are just extra layers that I've added to my life. This podcast will really be more from my life experiences than any of the structured education that I've had. But life is its own education, isn't it? And I guess deciding to further my education is in fact part of that life experience. But I'm just going to speak about things that I've picked up and learned along the way. This is not intended in any way to replace therapy or the need for formal medical help because, let's face it, sometimes life is just too much and we need some professional help. We need as much help as we can get, and we should get that whenever and however we need it. I do believe, though, that all the stuff that we go through in life, no matter how bad, can be used to help shine the light behind so that we can use our experiences to light the way for others. I'm just going to be honest and share my experiences and probably overshare as I do in my day-to-day life and conversations. So I apologize right now up front to those in my life that may get pulled into these experiences. But for those of you that are in my life, you already know me and you know what to expect. There is no persona for me to hide behind. It's just me. I'll share the good, the bad, and the ugly. And let's face it, most of life's learning is not when life is going wonderful. It's not typically when things are going well and you're having fun. Most of life's learning is when it truly sucks. When you've made some bad decisions, or maybe you feel like stuff has happened to you, maybe things completely out of your control, and you've felt broken, overwhelmed, frustrated, stuck, and you're thinking, how the hell did I get here? And more importantly, how the hell do I get out? That's when the real shifts can happen. If you choose to really see what's going on, find your part in it, find out what you're supposed to grow from it, what you're supposed to know from it, and feel it and heal it. So I guess what I'm saying is changing your life may not feel great at times and may not be pretty, but it's usually so necessary for your long-term peace. Change happens when not changing is more uncomfortable. When the discomfort of change feels better than the pain of not changing, that's when you know you have to do something. And you'll know when the time to change is here. And I think you're already feeling it because you're here, aren't you? And maybe you just don't know what that next step is. And it just feels so overwhelming. But that's the whole point of this podcast, is to say it doesn't have to be overwhelming. And you can get through this. And just one little change is all you need. So how did I get here? Well, like many of you, the lockdown in 2020 gave me the time to reassess my life, things, priorities. When it hit, I had just begun to use my time to go deeper into myself. My kids were grown, out of the house, and life was in that autopilot kind of mode that we sometimes get into. And I was looking for something that I knew I was missing, something I just craved. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know how to get it. I just started listening to some podcasts just like you are now, and I tended to gravitate to those that spoke of mindfulness and growth. I'm not religious in any way, but I started reading more about mindfulness, and that led me to a little bit more of the Buddhist mentality of letting things go, letting them flow, and recognizing that my ego was at play in thinking that I had to participate in every situation that came my way. Now, I am by no means a true Buddhist or even a half Buddhist because, of course, that's years of training. And I'm not into meditation as much as I should be, although I do love moving meditation. So when you're using those times of mindlessly doing something physical so that your mind can wander and you can process or think things over. Not ruminate, not obsess, but think in a positive and effective way to let go and clean out the cobwebs that are clouding the path. So, walking outside, cleaning, I find crochet or any other kind of repetitive physical activity can just be very zen for me. But I did a lot of reading, and I plan to have an episode on all the podcasts and books and other ways I fed my brain and my soul. But for now, the first book that really hit me was Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty, and the chapter on ego was essential to my growth. I had, and probably still have, way more ego than I need, but I didn't realize how much my ego was at play for me. I always thought ego was just about thinking you're great, But it's way more than that. It's thinking that I have to have an opinion about everything and everyone, thinking that I know better than others about what they should or shouldn't do. And one of the things that I found most freeing is to realize that maybe there's more going on than what you're seeing or experiencing from others. That it's not always about you, that the way people talk or react or treat you, it's not about you. And you don't necessarily need to be so involved as you think you need to be. Let's face it, you don't know other people's lives. And once you let them just live and learn from their own journey, as you're trying to live and learn from your own, it really feels like a weight gets lifted. Doesn't mean you don't care about others. You can still care about them, but you can let go of control. Or really, it's the perception of control. Because honestly, you never had it in the first place. The only thing you control is you and your thoughts. You can't even fully control where life takes you. You can make different or better decisions, but I really believe the universe has a way of throwing things in your path that you need to see, feel, and grow from. And once you recognize and can see your ego and understand when it's at play, when it's creeping into your life, and how you're reacting from it, it's a whole new ball game. That will be another podcast I do about ego, because that is at least one or two podcasts. But that's how I got here, was just reading, listening, learning, and growing. And after I got my life coaching certifications, I wondered what direction would work best for me. And I really love the podcast approach. I've gotten so much from other podcasts, and I truly feel like I have something to share. And where it goes and how far it is not the point. But I just hopefully want to impact just one person each time. I mean, how amazing would that be to just share your experiences and know that you've impacted somebody? So I did a little bit more learning about podcasts, what to do to launch a podcast, what type of microphone, what type of software, how to put it all together. But I'll be honest with you, the longest part was finally taking the step to actually launch. Because even though I took all the steps to prepare, it's that imposter syndrome that sometimes stops us from taking that next step. Sometimes that's the thing that can keep us stuck. But then I told myself, this does not have to be perfect. You're human, and just like you've always done, you will continue to learn as you try, and maybe at times you'll fail, but then maybe you'll learn some more from that failure, which means it doesn't stay a failure. It becomes growth, and then you do better the next time. And isn't that what everything in life is all about? You fall down, you look back, you realize what tripped you up, and you know how better to step next time. So maybe you don't fall again. Or maybe next time you don't get as hurt, or you catch yourself in time before the fall. But give yourself some grace and recognize that we're all just doing our best, and we're all just trying to learn a better way. So the one thing that I can leave you with today is to realize and be okay with the fact that you're not the expert, and neither am I in so many things. We are becoming experts in our lives just by living it, but not in all the perspectives and ways that you can see your life. And that's okay. And it's in fact necessary to look to others who have gone down a similar path to get some guidance. Not to necessarily allow them to tell you what to do or expect that, but to show you a possible way forward, to take that step forward. So for today, for this very first podcast of mine, all I want is for you to stay open to learning, to growing, to take the little steps and actions that will propel you forward no matter your age, your position in life, no matter how stuck you feel. That's it. Just be open. You don't have to do anything else today if you don't feel that you can take on any more. You've hit play, you've listened to this podcast, and if that's where you want to stop today, then be proud of that. And thank you for listening today. Thank yourself for listening today. Thank yourself for taking that first step forward. So keep believing it, keep doing it, and then eventually you will know it. And once you know it in your soul, you know that you have the power to change. There's no turning back. You got this. I know you do. Little by little and piece by piece. This podcast is based on my own life experiences. I'm not a therapist, a psychologist, psychiatrist, or any other licensed medical professional. Please share this podcast with anyone you think needs to hear this so that we all move forward, little by little and piece by piece. And thank you, Purple Planet, for sharing your music.